Okay, we'd like to welcome you to our current event and weekly Bible study for December 21st, 2008. And today we're going to be taking a detour from the Antichrist study, and we're going to be talking about the subject of the digital TV that's coming very soon. Also the subject of HAARP and what they're called Gwen towers. The subject of how these things can be used in regard to mind control, or at very least influencing thought patterns in a very significant way. I'm going to be going through several different sources today that are pretty much confirming and saying the same thing, which is what we try to do on a weekly basis anyway. But this first article is entitled Digital TV, Mind Control by the Sound of Silence. It's by a man named A. True Ott. That's a crazy name. A. True Ott. He's a PhD and an MD, and this is from just December 15th of this year, 2008. So this was just written. And it starts out with an editor's note. This is an extremely timely and important essay. It overviews a secret Pentagon psychotronics technology known as Silent Sound Spread Spectrum, or SSSS, that has been fully operational since the 1990s. I first found out about the use of the technology from a man named Al Bielek in the 1992 video he made with Vladimir Terziski. Now this was 1992, and he's got, in this particular article I'm reading, he's got an actual link to this video. I guess you can watch it. I'll try to make this available on PDF format, if nothing else, the links so that you can go to them. Because this isn't a subject right now that I'm talking about where we've had a lot. And I've been waiting, because I believed from the first time I heard about this whole digital conversion, I just truly believe the Lord convicted me that this was evil, that there was another hidden agenda behind it. And we're going to be looking at that agenda today. But there's not a lot written about this at this point. Now, there's probably going to be, at some point, an avalanche of information coming out on this. Just like right after 9/11, there wasn't a lot of stuff available. But then when people started analyzing the footage and then analyzing all the events surrounding 9/11, there was a lot of different things came out regarding that. So I believe this is going to be a similar thing. But I really wanted to sound the alarm on this, because this is going to be happening pretty soon, I believe in February. So this technology, this SSS, this Silent Sound Spread Spectrum, was used against the battle-hardened Iraqi troops fortified in deep underground bunkers in Kuwait, in Iraq, in the first Gulf War in January of 1991. The physical, emotional, and psychological effects of this technology were so severe that hundreds of thousands of Iraqi troops surrendered en masse without even firing a single shot against the U.S.-led coalition forces. The numbers reported in the news were staggering. 75,000 and then another 125,000 or more Iraqi troops would come out of their deep desert bunkers, waving white flags and falling to their knees before the approaching U.S. troops, and literally kiss their captors' boots or hands if given the opportunity. Why would 8-year veterans in the Middle Eastern warfare, because they were involved with Iran from 1980 to 1988, why would they behave this way? Simple. They were subjected to a technology that was so extreme and incomprehensible that they were suddenly reduced to the level of compliant children and felt grateful to still be alive in the wake of their mind-wrenching experience. This technology is about to be used, I'll bet in a more subtle fashion, against the American citizens in a highly classified and covert operation of mind control to manipulate the entire population into compliance with the New World Order overlords. The technology will utilize a combination of HAARP transmitters, Gwen tower. Now, HAARP is an acronym, and we'll get into these later. HAARP is an acronym, Gwen is an acronym. But Gwen towers, microwave cell phone towers, and soon to be mandatory high-definition digital TV that will enter your home via cable, satellite, HD TVs, or those oh-so-easy-to-obtain digital converter boxes that they keep advertising on the TV incessantly, that the government is so anxious to help you obtain and underwrite most of them on most of the cost on your behalf. But why is the government so anxious to help American citizens experience a clearer and more highly defined television picture? Does that make sense? Particularly, now this is my comment, particularly in light of the economy in America imploding. Okay, we're basically, by a lot of statistics in, the Great Depression of the 1930s, we're basically just about there economically. It may not have manifested, in other areas to that point yet, but we're heading there most likely. And yet the government is so concerned about that we have a nice, crisp, clear digital TV experience. It never made sense to me from the beginning when I heard about this. It never set right with me ever. And reading this, it really, I understand now why. And we're gonna get some different perspectives on this today, not just from one person, but from several. So, since when is the government so concerned about the visual quality of our televised entertainment that Congress would pass an undebated statutory proclamation which mandated that the HD conversion take place by February 17th, 2009, and then subsidize about 90% of the associated cost? Why would Congress do that? That doesn't make any sense. They mandated this conversion take place in an undebated statutory proclamation. They said it's got to take place by February 17, 2009. And then they subsidized 90% of it? I'm only guessing, but if there are 200 million regular televisions in America to be converted into HD, then that $40 government subsidy per TV times 2 million equals $8 billion. Why is the government so anxious to spend $8 billion on her citizens to improve the clarity of a TV picture, particularly when the economy is imploding? Or is this recently touted additional bandwidth cover story that is supposedly to be gained with the HD technology the only genuine reason for spending so much taxpayer dollars on the HD conversion? I mean, is that the only... Well, we just need additional bandwidth. The second service that this author performs, now this is this author talking here, is to out or expose 2 or more deceptive CIA, Pentagon assets masquerading under the rubric of national health advocates. That rubric, what a word rubric is. Taylor, you need to use that word more often in your vocabulary. You really do. Anyway, sorry. There was a Rubik's Cube at one time, I remember, but this is different. This is the rubric. Anyway, their names are Rima Labo and her trusted former Major General Albert Stubblebine. If your email inbox has been filling with warnings and articles in recent months about the coming Codex regulations and the wonderful job Rima and her retired Army husband have been doing to try to stem the tide, then you know what I'm talking about. Now, bear with me because they get to the point of why they're talking about these two people in particular in regard to this silent sound spectrum technology. There's a reason for it that's not really apparent right now. Then he says, folks, it's time to wake up, or should we just resume our slumber and wait for them to take us away in those spiffy Gunderson cattle cars that Phil Schneider warned us about in 1995? You know, the ones with the built-in shackles and the manacles. Well, I also heard they have guillotines in them as well. And if you don't know what that I'm talking about there, that I've done teachings on the concentration camps that have already been built in America. It's like over 600 or 800. And they're just empty internment camps that are just sitting there with a skeleton crew guarding them, almost like they're just waiting to receive a massive influx of people. And there's gas chambers and all types of furnaces built into these things. And it's going to be the American Holocaust that's going to be most likely coming. And I've done whole teachings on this. Okay. Now, again, as a born-again Christian, this isn't something you need to go about wringing your hands about all the day long, because the Bible, doesn't give us any warrant to do that. The Bible does say, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. So I think that if you see evil coming, and obviously there's a lot of evil that